like a little check-in. These are all the books that I'm reading through this week. Also, I got my bangs. So I got the bangs, and then I was like, they were only kind of like a half send on bangs, and I was like, no, I really want bangs now. This is like the change this face has been looking for, so I'm very excited about that. But just doing kind of like a check-in, because again, as I mentioned in my Instagram, I'm not going to be posting these every single day, and I mentioned it in my last video too. It's too much to post these every single day, so I'm going to do like a weekly thing unless I post a little bit more. Got a knot in my hair. Girls, you understand. And yeah, so today I'm moving through all of these texts. That's not finishing all of these texts, that's just reading sections from each of these texts to make progress. I got through a lot of them. I started almost all of them on Tuesday? Yeah, on Tuesday. And then yesterday I had the opportunity to go down to Shawnee, which is about an hour south of where I live. And I got to hang out with one of my lovely new friends, Christine, and it was so much fun. And yeah, so I didn't do like any reading yesterday, but I did get to talk to her about some of the theoretical and craft work that's like going on in my list, which was really exciting, and also almost just as productive, really, or not even almost, like just as productive, because it helps me formulate the exam questions I'm thinking of, and formulates kind of like my arguments when I will approach those exam questions come exam time. So it was really fruitful, and it was also just really nice to see her and catch up with her and see what was going on in her life. Yeah, it was really lovely. So all that being said, I am gonna do a little time lapse today to act as like a filler, and they're kind of fun. I'm in my time lapse era right now, but yeah. My house is a mess. I haven't had time to clean it, but I've been reading. I'm about to head out the door. I was gonna film this on my way to the university because I'm gonna switch up my work area. It's always when I start this that my cats start fighting. I'm pretty sure they started fighting last time. And I decided to film it before I left because my hands are gonna be full and I'm not gonna have a hand to hold the camera. But I am making progress on, will you not get off? Not get off, go on. Jeez. I'm making progress on my list. These are all the books I have now finished. Those are the ones I need to do notes on. These are the ones I've noted. These are all the books that are left. Can you see them? Yeah, there we go. So I'm not quite halfway through. I counted them up the other day, but I can't remember how many I've read. All that to say, I'm making progress. I finished like 4 or 5 last week. I don't remember. Anyways, and I have my backpack on with 4 or 5 books in there. I'm almost done with the Cognitive Ecopoetics by Sharon Lattig, which is phenomenal. It's super interesting. I am not almost done with Sylvia Plath, but I hope to finish that maybe today. And then I have Women in the Waiting Room by, I think her name is Kapur, which is a shorter book of poems. So I was gonna read some Sylvia Plath, like maybe 100 pages or so, and then try to finish the Kapur text, because I'm doing the Nicole Seeley's month of poetry, where you read a book of poems every single day for the month of August. And then I have my, I mentioned this, Cognitive Ecopoetics. I'm super close to being done with that text, which I'm super excited about. And then I have Wild by Design, which is another theoretical text by, I don't remember who the author is of that. And then I have Clean Dishes and a whole thing of books. I was on the phone with one of my best friends from Utah the other day, Taylor, and I started cleaning out my library. I have so many books, guys, and I don't want to move. Like, I think I have anywhere between 2,500 and 3,000 books in my house. I have a massive library, which is great. Like, I love it. And I don't want to move my library when I move, like, this coming spring. So this is my first stack that I am taking to Morrill Hall, which is the English department on campus. They have this really nice little setup of books that people can take for free. There's a mixture of, so if people in Oklahoma are watching this at OSU, there's a mixture, there's a lot of fiction books, like craft fiction and like American Best Stories and stuff like that, that I've just accumulated in the past decade that I don't really need. I'm not really a fiction writer at all, actually. I am not a fiction writer. Not really, not at all. And so I'm getting rid of like those fiction craft texts. So fiction writers, if you want to peruse those, they'll be on the 4th floor in Morrill, in the break room. And then there are various lit mags that I'm getting rid of from years past. I've accumulated quite a few lit mags, so those are in there as well. I know that there's a Plowshares in there, which if you've been wanting to submit to Plowshares, there you go. I mean, it's from 2022, but it's not like too far past. And yeah, I was thinking, I was like, wouldn't it be cool if I accrued enough subscribers on this little platform that I could start giving books away? That would be kind of fun. Though at that point, I would have to be giving away, well, I don't know, maybe the optimist in me says that like every book has some sort of value to the right person, but the pessimist in me is like, not these books. But I don't know. So anyways, if that sounds like something fun, let me know. And with that, I'm gonna walk to campus. So I hope everyone has a great day. Okay, I'm doing another check-in today. I think the last time I posted was last week around this time, so I figured why not again around this time. I totally finished the Sharon Lattig text, the Cognitive Ecopoetics. That's another text, I think, alongside Jonathan Bates' text, The Song of the Earth, that will probably be utilized exponentially in my exam. And I'm about halfway through Women in the Waiting Room by, I keep forgetting her name, Kapur. I said it wrong earlier, so I'm gonna have to, when I upload this, I'll list the correct spelling of her name. But it is phenomenal, and as I'm reading, I'm considering how poets utilize nature imagery. My hair's a little wild right now. Utilize nature imagery to encompass personally struggling with. And maybe that's not like a novel idea, but it's something that just hit me after I finished the Lattig text, because Lattig spends a lot of time talking about how the neurons in our brain start firing. I don't know if I can explain this as scientifically as she explained it, but they start acting like they react, right, to the things that we're reading. So, for example, if you take religious texts and you read enough from a religious text, that's going to alter how you view the world and how you act and respond to others, or react, depending. And the same thing goes for other texts. So if you spend enough time reading poetry, which that's the argument, right? Like the lyric poetry. And lyric poetry is very in tune with, well, it's emotional. And so I'm thinking about how so many poets utilize the environment around them, not just like ontologically, but the natural environment around them to catalyze, that's a word, how what the speaker of their text is going through in a way that will affect the reader, how they desire the reader to be affected, and what language they use to exhibit that affect and effect. So, and this will tie into affect theory as well, which is really interesting to me. At least I'm assuming so. I start my affect theoretical text next week, which will be interesting, and I'm still behind, so that's fine. But yeah, I guess you guys get a little bit of a tour of Oklahoma State University's campus. It is a beautiful campus. But yeah, heading home to eat. I'll finish the Kapur text, get into Plath and Wild by Design by Laura Martin. That's what that author's name is. And then I've got the Ellen Voigt craft text, The Art of the Lyric. Lots of lyric studies going on right now, which is, as I mentioned in a previous video, really my MO, because I'm a lyric poet. But yep, hope everyone's doing well. Hello, good evening. It is the evening now, and I finished, let's see, I think I said this earlier, but I finished Cognitive Ecopoetics by Sharon Lattig, and then I finished Women in the Waiting Room by Kirun Kapur. That's how you, well, I don't know if that's how you say her name, but her name is Kirun Kapur. And then I finished the collected poems of Sylvia Plath, and I started on, there's my doll collection. If anyone is afraid of dolls, sorry, not sorry. And then I started Wild by Design by Laura Martin. And I started In a Few Minutes Before Later by Brenda Hillman. And look at this. This is exciting. This is the best part about buying used books. I'm telling you guys, you should buy used books. It's totally signed. Woo! And yeah, so over the past week, let's see, I finished those 3 today. Then I finished Finney yesterday. The World is Still Round. Very delightful. Time and Material by Robert Hass I finished. And these were okay. So some of the ones I finished from last week: Weeds and Wildflowers by Alice Oswald, which was an interesting book. I finished If Men Then by Eliza Griswold, which was phenomenal. I finished the Mary Ruefle, Madness, Rack and Honey. I finished Toxic Flora by Kimiko Hahn. And I think those were all from last week. So I don't think I'm missing anything. But yeah, so we're moving along and I feel pretty good about it. I'm going to start The Flexible Lyric by Ellen Bryant Voigt. So I'm going to do that tonight, even though it's late. It's already 5:40, but I wanted to dip into another craft text because I finished the Ruefle a few days ago and I want to keep moving on that. And yeah, the women in the waiting room, I think I mentioned this maybe a little bit in my last filming. The problem is I'm reading so much that I forget what I say on these things. But Women in the Waiting Room ended really, it was a really good collection. And then the Sylvia Plath collection, it's really interesting to watch how she digresses from, because it's how this is ordered is by year of when she wrote it. So it goes from 1956 to her last poem. Let's see. Oh. Okay, 1963. The last poem in this collection is called Edge, and it is haunting. It is very haunting. I don't remember when Plath committed suicide exactly, but I'll have to look that up. And yeah, that's where I'm at. The Hillman text is really good so far. It's really interesting. Wild by Design is definitely written by, so it's someone who was in the sciences, like the ecological area, and then switched over to the history of ecology to bring in the humanities, but so far she hasn't mentioned any of the writing humanities. So I think that's a really good opportunity for me to bring that book into what I'm talking about. Although I don't know if that book is going to be a main character in my exam. I think my main characters, as I mentioned earlier, are Sharon, Lattig, and Jonathan Bate so far, at least in terms of the theoretical. In terms of poetic, I'm constantly thinking about Nikki Beer's The Octopus Game. And I was thinking about bringing in Karen Kapur's Ladies in the Waiting Room, because that really was phenomenal. And Tommy Pico's Nature Poem. And maybe Jory Graham. I'm always tempted to bring in Juliana Spar because I love Juliana Spar. But yeah, I'm trying to think. Oh, Kimiko Hahn is another one. Toxic Flora really was connected. So that was really, really phenomenal. But yeah. And I guess that will conclude this past week's adventures of reading. I think this is part 13. So don't quote me on that though, but I'm pretty sure it's part 13. And I will see you all next week. I have to correct myself really fast. I said Sylvia Plath digresses. I meant regresses. So that's a correction that I needed to make real quick.